What the fuck? Is that Shadow's dick?
I f***ed your wife.
Shadow the Hedgehog, that hot topic wannabe that has captured the hearts of every teenage girl. But this spiky-haired emo could have looked very different. Gasp! Hi, I'm Eddie C. And blah blah blah, this is the entire creation of Shadow the Hedgehog from its conception until now. The year is 2001, and the most influential event of the year had just happened. The creation of Shadow the Hedgehog. What, did you think I was gonna see something else? Sonic Adventure came out to massive success and critical acclaim in 1999, selling 4.1 million copies worldwide. So obviously, they had to make another one. Sega demanded a sequel, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Team set to work. They kept the gameplay structure the same while having more focus on action. The game ran on 60 frames per second in order to make the game seem more impressive. This made Sonic seem faster than he truly was. Adventure 2 was developed with a key dichotomy of good and evil. So, kind of like every hero game out there? This dichotomy, I'm sorry, I can't keep using that word, it's too funny. This premise evolved into the Hero and Dark storylines. The Hero storyline involved Sonic and the gang working together to stop Eggman's plan of subduing the world with the Eclipse Cannon. The Dark storyline involves seeing the story from Eggman and his gang's point of view. During the development of Sonic Adventure, there were talks amongst the team about creating a new rival for Sonic to face off against in a future sequel. With the premise of good and evil, Sonic Adventure 2 was the perfect opportunity to introduce this new rival villain. The idea was to create a character that contrasted sharply with Sonic, while also intending to reach the level of coolness as spawned from Image Comics. The first name they came up for this character would be Terios. Terios, the word, means reflection of, which sums up the idea for the character perfectly. This is because Terios is intended to be the doppelganger to Sonic, with characters in the game getting confused between the two.
Was that Sonic?
Come on now. So Sonic Team got down a base for this rival character. What they needed to do now was come up with a design to make him look as cool as Sonic. Taking a look at the early concept art, it's obvious that there are many ideas for his design before nailing down the perfect one. The idea that Terios was to be Sonic's doppelganger caused every design to be a hedgehog, the same species as Sonic and Amy. In this concept art, which is arguably the most well known, we can see Terios has a scar running through his eye, and his fur isn't quite midnight black but a really dark blue. Another version of this concept shows a pivot to the red and black color scheme, even with odd yellow eyes that could be lenses. This design clearly takes some notes from Metal Sonic with the red circle eye and the same color palette. An interesting thing to point out is that every design has shackles around his wrists, perhaps being an important hint to something in his lore. In others, he dons a badass cape and even has an emo fringe. The name Terios was dropped, and they instead chose to go with the name Shadow the Hedgehog, which, funnily enough, was actually Rouge's original name during her development. The final design was created by Shiro Meikawa, a game designer who also worked on Sonic Adventure. He has a deep personal connection to Shadow, as Sonic Adventure 2 was the first game he ever wrote for. The final design for Shadow shows him coated in black fur, along with red stripes in his fur on each of his quills and his arms and legs. These red stripes were inspired by Kabuki Tsujikuma makeup. This bold makeup style was used specifically for heroic and samurai characters. Interestingly, Tsujikuma translates to Lion Shadow. Could this be where Shadow gets his name?
But didn't you say that Shadow took Rouge's original name?
Anyway, back to his design, he has red eyes, a patch of white fur on his chest, and a tan-colored muzzle, darker than Sonic's. Also contrary to Sonic, his quills are bent and curved upward, enabling him to have a different silhouette to Sonic. He wears golden limiter rings around his wrists and ankles. These were created by Gerald and Maria Robotnik, intended to restrain Shadow's power. Oh, so that's what they're for. How cute, the videos come full circle. Shiro Meikawa, the dude from earlier, said that coming up with Shadow's personality was difficult. It had only stemmed and blossomed from the first line he came up with for Shadow, being, aren't you the fake one around here?
I found you, faker!
Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here.
Meikawa envisioned Shadow to have referred to himself as Boku. Boku is a Japanese pronoun for I or me, mainly used by males to sound humble and polite. And the last thing that affected Shadow's personality was that in early concept art, the name Vegeta was used to describe Shadow.
First of all, I am Vegeta. Second of all, you're not Vegeta.
Sonic Team have actually denied this comparison, as in Dragon Ball, Vegeta actually joins the good guys team, while Shadow always walks his own path separate from Team Sonic. And now, Shadow the Hedgehog was born. Shadow was originally only meant to be in Sonic Adventure 2. Well, because he kinda died.
My final message. Goodbye.
During the development of Sonic Heroes, Sonic Team had a meeting on whether to bring back characters such as Shadow and E-102, or to leave them dead. The mystery of Shadow the Hedgehog was always intended to be maintained. A long, long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, Now I'm going to go into the history and appearances of Shadow, looking at how he has developed over the series. And I'll only be talking about mainline games or games where he's had an important role, so I don't want to hear any of you saying,
What about Shadow's appearance as an assist trophy in Super Smash Bros. Brawl?
Shut up!
Project Shadow. Professor Gerald Robotnik watches over the highly secretive project sanctioned by the government. The idea was to create immortality with the ultimate life form. The government planned to use the research for a weapon. Meanwhile, Gerald secretly wanted to apply it to his dying granddaughter, Maria.
Maria.
Maria suffered from neuroimmune deficiency syndrome. This refers to a group of disorders where the immune system attacks the nervous system. By the way, when you search up neuroimmune deficiency syndrome into Google, you get the stupid Google AI summary first, and then the first result is the Sonic wiki. Like, imagine your beloved grandmother is dying to one of these disorders, and you search it up, and the first thing you see is Sonic the Hedgehog. I just find that hilarious. So Gerald did indeed have moral concerns about this project, but his granddaughter was way more important, so he went through with it. There are two in-game explanations for the name Shadow. First is the irony of that a shadow cannot be created, like how immortality could not be created, which was the goal. And the other was from Maria, as she says shadows teach people the way to the light. Since creating immortality is literally fucking impossible, Gerald ran into roadblocks with his research. Ah, Coke is so good. Black Comet was passing the Earth, and Gerald contacted the Black Arms living on it. The leader of the Black Arms, Black Doom, offered his blood for Project Shadow, but in turn he was to be granted the Chaos Emeralds in 50 years. Oddly specific, it's not like Shadow is going to be frozen in place for 50 years until just the right moment to be awakened for Black Doom to demand his Chaos Emeralds. Oh wait. Using the DNA granted by Black Doom, Gerald created Shadow. While Shadow lived out life on the space colony Ark, growing closer with Maria, Gerald shifted towards a new project, preparing for the return of Black Doom. He created the Eclipse Cannon, a weapon that harnesses the power of the Chaos Emeralds to try and destroy the Black Comet. The creation of Shadow was successful, but Gerald's goal of clearing Maria with Shadow failed. The results of Project Shadow were leaked to Gunn, and the government ordered an invasion of the Ark as they are afraid of Gerald's ties with Black Doom. Gunn's forces raided the ship, killing all researchers of Project Shadow. Gerald attempted to flee, but was instead kidnapped. Shadow and Maria were told by Gerald to escape by using an escape pod, but just as they got to it, Maria was fatally shot in the oh-so-memed scene. Now, if you don't want to get fatally shot by a gun agent, you have to subscribe to my channel. You get to watch all things Sonic related and more. Resident Evil, Deltarune, JoJo, you name it. Please subscribe, please subscribe, please, please, please subscribe, please, please. Maria activated Shadow's escape pod, begging Shadow to give the people of Earth a chance to be happy. But this was all for nothing, as Shadow's pod was later found by Gunn, and Shadow was suspended in animation on Prison Island. Gerald was forced to continue his research into Project Shadow. In retaliation, he secretly brainwashed Shadow into thinking he was created to wipe out humanity. Years later, well, 50 years later, Dr. Eggman, the descendant of Gerald, freed Shadow from suspended animation, and Shadow joined Eggman's plan to take over the world, intending to avenge Maria. Shadow believed that wiping out the human race would be what Maria wanted, but in the final act of the game, Amy Rose helped Shadow to realize Maria's true wish. Shadow remembered Maria's true wish was to save humanity, not to destroy it. Sonic and Knuckles had reactivated the Bio-Lizard, and with Shadow's help, they defeated it. The Bio-Lizard is the first prototype of Project Shadow, so it has the ability of chaos control, which it used to fuse with the Ark. Sonic and Shadow have an awesome bro moment and dap out, transforming into their super states. Shadow and Sonic destroy the Bio-Lizard, which had now become the final hazard. They perform an enhanced chaos control in order to stop the fall of the Ark, but Shadow's energy was drained. He fell to Earth, presumably dying in the process.
Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Now, I'm sure you guys remember me saying that Sonic Team had a meeting to discuss whether to bring Shadow back from the dead. Well, they did. They got Shadow's reboot card and resurrected him to return in Sonic Heroes. Rouge discovers Shadow unconscious in yet another bloody stasis pod. Wrote to Captain America's backstory and did it twice. Shadow was awakened by Rouge, only to discover that Shadow now has amnesia, not remembering anything apart from his name and Maria's death. Shadow met Eggman in the casino, asking him about his past, but Eggman simply said that Shadow had no past to remember. Later on, Shadow encountered clones of himself, adding to his confusion. Was he just another clone? The multiple plot lines of Sonic Heroes converge and the final battle with Neo Metal Sonic ensues. After this, however, Shadow and Omega were holding Metal Sonic's body, wondering what to do with it. I wonder what this means for future games!
Can you see all of me?
Moving on to the next game, it's a more Shadow-focused game, literally being called Shadow the Hedgehog. In this game, Shadow is now haunted by the memories of his past, memories that he can't quite piece together. The Black Arms race is back. It's been 50 years since the deal with Gerald Robotnik, and Black Doom has come to collect his end of the deal, and orders him to collect the 7 Chaos Emeralds for him. Shadow wants more than anything to figure out his own past, so this drives him to actually go along with this. Shadow collects all the emeralds and ends up on the Black Comet. He comes before Black Doom, but before he could give him the emeralds, Sonic and Eggman show up, warning Shadow not to listen to Doom. Doom reveals his true intentions of harvesting humans as an energy source, and takes the emeralds from Shadow using Chaos Control to warp the Black Comet down to Earth. Black Doom reveals to Shadow that he was created from Black Doom's DNA. Shadow now swears to never be manipulated by anyone ever again, as he leaves his past behind him. Black Doom puts Shadow through mind control, explaining that he could easily control him as they share the same DNA, but Shadow is encouraged by a videotape of Gerald and Maria. He gained the inspiration needed to break free of the mind control. Shadow uses the Chaos Emeralds to become Super Shadow, like he did back in Adventure 2. He defeats the new Devil Doom, and warps the Black Comet back towards the planet and destroys it with the Eclipse Cannon. He takes one last look at a picture of Gerald and Maria before throwing it away. He chooses to move on with his life, rather than dwelling on the past, as it was his obsession with his past that led to this whole mess. And now, we move on to Sonic 06. Is it even canon? Do I have to talk about it? God's sake. In Sonic 06, Shadow once again has his own storyline. The government requested that Shadow infiltrates Dr. Eggman's base in order to rescue a gun agent that was last contacted 26 hours ago. Shadow gets to the gate of the base where he meets a surprise Rouge, the gun agent that he was requested to rescue. On the way to the extraction point, Shadow and Rouge encounter the new main villain of the game, Mephiles the Dark. He had been freed from the Scepter of Darkness as Shadow had destroyed it while rescuing Rouge. Mephiles took on Shadow's appearance as he was the cause of the Scepter's destruction. Oh great, now we got another faker in here. Mephiles sent a prayer to the future in order to meet Oblivion, where they soon meet up with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. In order to return to their present, they needed 2 Chaos Emeralds. On the journey to find the final Chaos Emerald they needed, they fought Iblis, the monster within a volcano. With both Chaos Emeralds, Sonic and Shadow performed a Chaos Control to open a portal to their present. The group jump in, all except for Shadow, who had sensed the presence of Mephiles. Shadow followed Mephiles to a volcanic platform where he asked him if he was the cause of the Earth's destruction. Shadow was shown the future version of himself, and surprise surprise, he's in stasis again. He had been labeled the enemy of mankind due to his involvement in the destruction of Earth. Shadow refused Mephiles, refusing to join his plan. They fought into a stalemate until Omega jumped in, aiding Shadow. They chased Mephiles, ending up with them both returning to the present, but Mephiles was out of sight. A lot of filler stuff happens in the game. It's quite long and a lot of goose chasing with Shadow and Mephiles, so let's just skip to the good bit. Mephiles had gained all 7 Chaos Emeralds and merges with Iblis, becoming Solaris. Shadow discovers that Mephiles killed Sonic to ensure Iblis is released. The gang gathered the 7 Chaos Emeralds in order to revive him, and Super Sonic, Super Shadow, and Super Silver defeat Solaris, with Prince Elise extinguishing the tiny flame that Solaris had become. This causes all the events of the game not to occur, meaning no one would remember it. Shadow is no longer bound by the future of becoming the enemy of humanity. He is free. Shadow Generations isn't really that long of a game. It takes about 3 to 5 hours to complete, but still, Shadow develops a lot in it. I mean, he relives all of his traumatic memories in it, so... It's Sonic's birthday, and of course, Shadow did not attend. He was investigating an abnormal biosignature on Space Colony Ark, which turned out to be a resurrected Black Doom. Along with all of Sonic's friends at his party, Shadow is pulled into a time hall by the Time Eater, and he learns that Black Doom was rebuilding the Black Arms army in order to force Shadow to become the warrior Black Doom had intended. Shadow explores white space, encountering many of his past memories, but as he does this, he manifests Doom powers. These are powers that were granted to him by Black Doom in order to warp his mind to be controlled more easily. This is actually a big change for Shadow and changes the way we view his anatomy a lot. Bro was literally slipping and sliding everywhere like the Venom symbiote from Marvel. Maria and Gerald were 2 displaced from the time due to the Time Eater, and they have a bittersweet reunion. In a massive epic final battle, Shadow using his new Doom powers fights off Devil Doom. Doom even becomes Neo Devil Doom, but Shadow has now grown too powerful, and he finally ends Black Doom. Due to Black Doom being defeated, Shadow's Doom powers diminish, and Generations continues as normal. Hoo-wee! And that was the last mainline game for Shadow. I mean, there is forces, but like, nothing really happens with Shadow in that. You don't wanna force it? So, As the thumbnail may suggest, I'm gonna talk about the future of Shadow. He's been through all this development, forgot his past, learned about it again, and left it behind only to be put through it all over again. What happens after the year of Shadow? There have been rumors that the next main Sonic game will be Sonic Frontiers 2, and if we know Sega, they sure love doing mini franchises within Sonic, such as the adventure games, the advanced games, and so on. So it only makes sense for there to be a Frontiers 2, but will Shadow be in it? I mean, it only makes sense, right? With the surge in popularity for Shadow and the year of Shadow Loop passing with 2024, it only makes sense for Sega to capitalize on this popularity, right? Shadow's last chronological appearance was actually way back in Sonic Forces, which came out in 2017, almost a decade ago, with Tails, Amy, and Knuckles all going their separate ways from Sonic at the end of Frontiers. Who the hell is Sonic gonna be paired up with in Frontiers 2? I mean, it could be Big the Cat, but I'm willing to put my money on Shadow the Hedgehog. Wouldn't it be so cool to have a duo adventure where you play as Sonic and Shadow actually teaming up in the game plotline rather than having separate storylines? And you know what? Throw Silver in there too. I had an idea of a pitch for a Sonic game. So you know how like Shadow is the past, Sonic is the present, and Silver is the future? How about we have Frontiers 2 be like a game like Sonic CD, to do with time travel. Shadow is transported to the past, and Sonic is in the present, and Silver is in the future, and it gets better. Remember how I said Metal Sonic has basically been forgotten about since Sonic Heroes? Bring him back as the villain just like in Sonic CD! This could be like a redo of Sonic 06. But now Sega has learned from their mistakes and could create an amazing game! Please, Sega. Listen to my plea.
Sega! Take my pitch for Frontiers 2, and my life is yours.
So yeah, kind of devolved into a Sonic pitch there, but I hope you enjoyed the video. And let me know in the comments what you think is next for Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh yeah, and like and subscribe.